So let me explain the tenor, if you will, of the terms for refis. So on some of the stuff that we're going long on, the buy and hold stuff, we're seeing the refis are going to be only rate and terms. There's going to be no cash out. We're finding it very, very difficult to find guys who would do cash out at a decent LTV, or LTV means loan to value, right? And so a fair number for LTV, loan to value, is 75%, meaning the loan will be 75% of the value of the property. And that's always been a pretty standard rule of thumb. Hey, is it 75%? We'll ask. And most of the times they say yes. Now, when you're dealing with local banks, that number is, inherently been 65% because they do a thing called loan to value, loan to cost. And basically, they're going to be hard pressed to give more than 70%. I'm talking about local banks on investment properties. We're not talking about your home, right? That's different. That's an FHA-backed loan. We're talking about investment loans for investment properties. So, again, rule of thumb has always been about 75% LTV. These days, on a rate and term, 75% is there. If you're trying to do cash out, they're typically going to be around 65 to 68% loan to value, meaning they're going to give you less of a loan, right, versus the value of the property if you're planning on taking cash out. They will, obviously, the underwriters and the end purchaser of that note feels more comfortable if you're going to leave your money in there and just get a rate and term. So, hey, you've got your money in there, you've got the hard money lender money in there, and we're going to take this whole thing out at 75%. We're good. 73%, 72%. In some of our cases, our loan to value with just the rate and term is sub 65% LTV. Like I said, we buy very well. So that's one. We're seeing below 70% loan to value in a lot of scenarios. In some scenarios, we're seeing 80% loan to value, but very rarely. The other condition that they're asking us to meet a lot is going to be, is it rented? Once upon a time, if you had a quad and you had 3 of them rented and 1 vacant, no problem, the loan goes through, right? Or, hey, I just bought it, it's not rented, or I'm buying it, it's not rented. Can you give me a rent appraisal and then give me the numbers off the rent appraisal? That now has gotten much, much lower. The appraisers are coming back with very, very, very low rental numbers. And to the point where we're refusing the loan, we rent it and then show them the actuals and then make them do the refi based on the actuals. So that's where we're at now. If I'm doing the big game hunting where I'm buying a property that's distressed, that needs rehab, that needs to then get rented and then refied, I am making sure that I have 100% of the units rented before I can go for the refi. Otherwise, the terms of the loan are, let's face it, they're garbage, right? And this is from all these guys out there that do these brokering these papers. See, if you haven't figured it out, a lot of the hard money guys, they've got long-term financing, and their long-term financing is what we call being table funded. So they're writing up and processing all the paperwork because that's what they're good at. And then they're putting it out there, and then whatever someone's already has the appetite to buy, that's what they're buying it at. So the interest rates now are going to be between 7.5% and 9%. And you are going to be looking more of the time, you'll be looking over 8%. We can live with all that because we typically took a 12% hard money loan. What the other side of it that we're concerned about is the terms. So if it's not rented, we're getting this garbage number on the rental number, right? Well, we think it's only going to rent for $1,000. We're like, no, it's $1,250. Well, we're only comfortable lending it to you is as if it was rented at $1,000. So we wait 30 days, we get it rented for $1,276 and then go back. So if you're doing refis, depending on who you're working with, I would tell you straight up, make sure it's rented, right? I think that time where you could go off a fair rental appraisal and get a refi is long gone. And so nowadays you actually have to make sure it's rented. So we're seeing a lot of that.